I don't want to hear, like, if you let people make your decisions for you, you will never, ever get to where you want to go. So if people say you can't do it, believe in yourself because no one knows what's in your heart. No one knows where your path goes. Only you do. So just keep dream chasing and you'll get to the top.
Welcome to this week's episode of Leadership Soundbites with Dylan Buckor. And Dylan and I met, I want to say 11 years ago.
Really? It's long
Because
ago.
when your mom and I got together, it was probably 10, maybe 10 years ago. Because your mother and I kind of adopted each other.
Yes.
She's an only child. I don't have a great relationship with my sister, so we just adopted each other. And I remember your mom looking at me going, "So people are going to notice we don't look alike." I said, "I know. We're going to tell them that you got mom's nose." So we just kind of came together. And I remember it's 10 years ago because I got introduced to Dom, your sister. And she's 27 now. And I think she was 16 or 17. So 10 or 11 years ago.
That's
And
all.
as her aunt.
Yeah.
And she was not having anything about that. she's like, she's like, there's no way. This is not possible. So that's when everything came together. And you were, obviously younger then.
Yeah.
So you are, which I love, it went from aspiring medical student, because that's what you wanted to do from a while, and I'll let you tell that story, to the news you got this morning. You are an incoming medical student.
Yes, I woke up this morning and I had no idea that I was going to get an email today saying that I got accepted. And then the first thing I did was tell my mom. So super happy about that. It's something I want to do since I was like super young. So, um,
which, which is impressive, which is super impressive. So I'm going to start us off with a quote that you have, and then I would love to go back and talk about that, because leadership doesn't just start when you have a title or when you have people reporting to you.
right.
Leadership starts in how you lead yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what intrigued me about you when we had a chance to sit down and chat. It was a year and a half ago, maybe. Dom's nursing school graduation party that we had.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, good. I do. So what's your quote, and what does it mean to
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. So the quote is, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And what that really means to me is that just going from personal experience, going from high school to college, um, I had a pretty good GPA in high school. I was really setting myself up to succeed in college. And, I got to college, and this is really where the beginning of my professional aspirations, my career aspirations really began. So, I came in there and I was like, I'm going to kill this. I'm going to absolutely kill this. And, things happen. I joined I joined a fraternity, and I got off track a little bit, and I ended up doing really poorly one semester that tanked my GPA by a
Mm-hmm.
point. And if you know anything about the GPA system, one whole point is major.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a sinking ship if you get that much. And I remember calling my mom. I was like, "Hey, mom, like I'm failing chemistry." And, I was super upset about it because obviously my goal was to get to medical school. And to get into medical school, you really need to have like the best grades like every single semester. And so, she told me that, hey, like I had 5 W's on my transcript, and, I still was able to become a nurse. Look where I am now. And she really just instilled into me that quote. It's like, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And so from that point forward, I was like, okay, I'm going to lock in. I'm going to get dialed in, and I'm going to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. And so it really was like a mindset shift
Mm-hmm.
me, because going into college, I was a little bit naive. I was just relying on my um, just overall ability to be smart. Like I felt like I was a smart guy and I didn't really need to study too much. But I think it really hit me when I was like, okay, I'm away from my parents. I don't have adult supervision. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I was 18 at the time. I thought I was grown, but I'm not. I still am. Still not. So, I thought I had it all figured out, but, I really took the next few years and semesters to really just get back to why, I am even pursuing higher education. And that was ultimately the goal, to become a doctor. So I just really finished out my college career really strong, and I was really proud of myself for doing that.
I'm super proud of you too. It's interesting that when you were talking about it, because I was on the outside during all that stuff, right? Hearing from your mom's perspective, it had a little bit more color involved to it, as you were describing things. But I'm curious, as the realization hits, and I think every leader has had several opportunities that stuff like this has happened. It's those OS moments, those we failed, now what? How do you pick yourself up by the bootstraps and move forward? Even though, like a conversation with your mom about looking forward, hey, look where I was at and I still did it. I can't help but wonder, Dylan, that as you were going through that journey, were there moments that you go, I don't know that I can do this. I don't know that it's going to be, because you can tank yourself pretty quick. It's
Mhm.
sticking back out of that hole that's more difficult.
Yeah.
Did you have those moments? And if so, what did you do in them?
Yeah. So ultimately, like when I was first starting to pick myself back up, it wasn't like a linear process.
No.
It was more so take 2 steps forward, take 5 steps back, and then keep going. So I remember I transferred home the following semester, and I enrolled myself into calculus over the summer. But I just wasn't able to perform to the best of my ability. I had to withdraw from that. So that was also a huge setback for me.
Yeah.
Even after having that oral semester, I'm still doing bad in class. What am I doing wrong? And so luckily, that was the COVID semester. So it made it so that it didn't even happen. So I
Nothing in COVID happened. It's kind of like Vegas.
exactly they'll just disappear. But I think just knowing the fact that you have to fail to succeed, and just pretty much just trusting that process, I think is what got me through these tough times. I knew that I had the willpower. I was strong enough to pick myself up. It was just
Hmm.
a matter of what it was going to look like for me, and I know it's different for everyone. Uh,
Hmm.
for me specifically, it ended up being a lot of failures, and then some big successes that really pushed me over that hump and got me back on track. And so I ended up taking calculus again, and I got a B in it, and then I enrolled in Sac State, and the rest is history.
Yeah, your history. It's and congratulations, by the way, because I don't want to take away from that accomplishment and the ability to do it, because there's plenty of people that literally will hit the wall of failure, and not know how to think through it, think around it, pick themselves back up. Because to your point, it's a mental game.
Yes,
And when we start doubting ourselves, then that's where we get in trouble. And so it's like what I would have to wonder what was different, right? High school and in college courses, and part of it is the environment that you're in.
highly competitive.
Well, it's competitive, and if you get in your head the wrong way, um, you get in your own way. So all of a sudden you've got the skills, you've got the aptitude and all that stuff, and yet you stop yourself. It's self-sabotaging stuff that happens.
Yeah,
So what was that thing for you to get and turn it around? Because to your point, took calculus again and did terrible. And so it's almost like you had to be sitting back going, where did the magic charm go? Where'd it go? Because before this stuff was easy, and now all of a sudden I can't even do it when I try.
oh man, I think I was comparing myself to a lot of the really like naturally like
Mm,
these gifted individuals, and I was taking high level classes, and so you had a lot of these people in the class who were just naturally gifted, and they would
mhm.
understand it as soon as it was taught, and I thought that I should be understanding it as soon as it was taught to me.
Um,
And so I guess I just went home frustrated after
mhm,
class, and I was just like, dude, why am I not understanding this? And then I would try so hard to understand it, it just wouldn't click. And so I think for me, what benefited for me is that I just had to take a break, like just taking a break,
mhm.
really allowing myself to calm down and reassess the situation, and from a logical standpoint, not from an emotional standpoint, which is
Yeah.
coming from in the beginning. and really just taking all the resources that I had at hand, because it's important to ask for help when you need it, and that's
Mm-hmm.
something that I've continued to learn as I've gotten older.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, I would never really ask for help,
Yeah.
and in any um, capacity, but I realized that asking for help is probably the best thing you can do for yourself, because
Mm-hmm.
it gives you the opportunity to improve yourself and give someone else the opportunity to give you the knowledge to help you succeed. So asking for help, I think, was the biggest
Mm-hmm.
thing for me that made that switch, that 180. And
Yeah.
I really just started asking for help when I needed it. Even when I didn't need it, I would go to office hours, be like, okay, let me walk me through this problem. What's a better way I can approach this problem? How can I change the way that I approach this? And
Yeah.
kind of what happened.
There are, it's interesting you say that because my brain's going to the science and the leadership development courses that I teach on stuff. So while you're not saying the words, what happened is when you're in that stress, frustrated, comparing yourself to other people, which by the way, that's a game that when nobody wins. Okay. The only comparison game is when we compare to ourselves to where we go, okay, wow, I'm actually better than I was yesterday or last week or last month. But what happens when you're frustrated and stressed at that level, you flood your system with cortisol and you shut down all the creative learning centers of your brain. So basically, all you're able to respond to is the hungry tiger that's right there that's coming after you. But there's no hungry tiger, but that's where your brain is. And so we actually make it worse for ourselves when we're in that situation we're stressed because we need the creative learning centers of our brain to be able to solve these problems and we've shut it all down. So when you were able to walk away, release all the stress, anxiety and stuff, give yourself a new approach, you came back with it with everything firing.
All cylinders.
Yeah. And you're ready to go and you're like, I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah, I think that's really what it was. I think I was just getting super frustrated
Mm-hmm.
at because like I said, I was just naturally smart in high school.
Yeah.
And I thought that would really translate to, these upper division classes that I was taking. But, you know, it's called upper division for a reason.
Yeah. Really?
So, I couldn't rely on just my natural abilities anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you went from college doing well there, and then you transitioned. There was an opportunity that I don't know you applied for or it found you.
Yes.
You want to explain to people what that was and what your thinking was around stepping into that opportunity?
Yeah. So, funny enough, I was watching with my family this show called The Bachelorette, or actually, it was The Bachelor. And then I turned to my family and I was like, how funny would it be if I happened to be on this show? And this was a day before my birthday. On my birthday, I get a call from a casting director. They're like, hey, I think you'd be a great fit for The Bachelorette. Isn't that crazy? So I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I didn't think I was never gonna apply for this. Like I never thought I'd be the type of person to be on a reality TV show. But it found me and I was like, okay, this is an opportunity to explore some new doors, open some new doors. So I was like, okay, might as well, why say no to cool experiences? I think you should always say yes to those type of things.
Mm-hmm. So, did you have any worries or concerns because, the
Oh,
last time you were out on your own?
oh yeah. Oh yeah. I had some concerns. I've seen the show before and I
I
know it.
never have, by the way. And so people are probably going, "What?" No, I never have. It's not a Hallmark movie, and it's not DIY stuff. So it's not in the genres of what I would typically watch.
It's not for everyone. Who wants to see people
Yeah,
date
yeah.
for an hour and a half? Not me. So, yeah, I was worried about because I've seen people's, professional careers get like derailed by these
Hmm.
types of shows,
Yeah.
their personal lives, and how that affects their mental health and stuff like that. So, like being on a TV show, you're really just exposed to the public eye. They know everything about you. They know my parents' name, where they went to college, everything about them. If you look up my name, you could probably see my parents' name, and they're not even on the show. So it's just really crazy. But
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was probably my biggest concern, was just how that would affect my future in medicine. But I just remained true to who I was on the show. I wasn't going to be someone I wasn't. It
Mm-hmm.
raised me to always just be the respectful, kind guy that I am, and that's the way that I presented myself on the show. And I think I did a great job at protecting my career, but also being true to who I was.
I'm smiling because and I still haven't watched any of the episodes, but just from your mother's comments, she's proud of you. And that's not necessarily a sentiment that someone would express if you made not great choices, right?
Definitely not.
Um, so I have to wonder in those moments, Dylan, right? Because when the camera's not rolling and the camera is rolling, how do you as a young adult in that moment, as a leader, how did you ready yourself not to fall, I'm not going to say victim, maybe more prey, to some of that, because I think there's setups and gotcha moments that can be in those shows, because it's just like with the news and everything else, they're looking to sell and keep people engaged.
Right.
Not in a negative way. It's just that that's their business model, right?
Mhm.
You want to keep people tuned in. How did you ready yourself for those moments?
Well, I think a lot of it was they will set something up for you, and it's like you said, it's really your choice whether you engage or perpetuate whatever they're trying to do. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's just important to realize, like, hey, I'm on a TV show right now. When those moments come up, I think you have to just really step back and realize, like, hey, there's like 6 cameras in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
There's alcohol involved. We're allowed to drink on the show. So this is going to be on national TV. So you really just have to
Mm-hmm.
have that in the back of your mind. But even when the situations got intense, I think it's always important to ground yourself and realize what the situation is.
Mm-hmm.
Take a step back and realize, okay, I'm in a room with a bunch of guys who are all competing for the same girl. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they're high. Let me be the one to not get angry. Let me be the one to be calm and control the words that are coming out of my mouth, because
Mm-hmm.
I want to step out of my character or have someone call me
Mm-hmm.
my character, because that's not who I am. So
Mm-hmm.
just constantly being in that mindset of, okay, just remain grounded, assess the situation, and then react, I think has just propelled me throughout my stint on this show.
Mm-hmm. I uh I appreciate you saying that, because what comes to mind for me, and I can put it, and anyone listening can put it in any other leadership situation you're in, an organization where you've got, some other person in the org that's just going off,
Right.
not professional behavior, not what everything. And so, in order for us not to engage in that, we have to be doing the mental uh, gymnastics, if you will, or the agility stuff that you're going through, and constantly resetting and going, okay, what's the story I got going right now? What's the narrative I got going right now? Who am I in this moment? Right? Realize there's cameras around for a reason. What is your ultimate outcome? But that's the kind of stuff, Dylan, that we go through constantly. You go into a board meeting or executive team meeting, you've got to set yourself, you've got to ground yourself, you've got to set the intention for who you're going to be in that moment. And you did exactly that in each of those moments that you stepped into.
Yeah.
Uh, it's a cool thing. And so when I think about that, and I have to wonder, right, as you go back to the fraternity stint that you did and the choices that were made then, and I firmly believe that everything happens for a reason, and you ready yourself for the next open door. I don't know that you would have been as successful in this bachelorette stint had you not gone through what you went through then.
And that's probably true. I think the person that I was when I was in that fraternity is completely different from the person that I was when I was on the show. I wasn't thinking the way that I was when I was on the show than when I was
Hmm.
18 or 19, and I'm still young. I'm only 24, but
Yeah.
that those like 5 or 6 years of like experiencing all the all the learning lessons that I've had, especially coming from that fraternity. That's a
Mhm.
dark period of my life.
Well, it's not one of your more shining moments, okay? But
Definitely not.
but but it's a learning period, and it literally, I think, set you up for success because you literally there's always a consequence or some result of some action that we take, a decision we make, or what we step into. And it
Right.
can be a good one or it can be a not so good one. And so, like I said, I don't believe, had you not gone through that, I don't know that even 5, 6 years later, you would have been as successful at staying the course as you were.
Yeah. I think I look back on it and I'm like, okay, I even now I still take lessons from, my time in
Hmm.
Fullerton. That's the college I went to when I was 18 or 19. But I don't know. I just feel like the people that I was surrounded with, I think it's also a big thing, a big part of who I am now is the people that I
Yeah.
surround myself with. I surround myself with people who, think like me or not and want to be successful, who want to do better for themselves. The people that I surrounded myself with when I was younger, they were partiers, they were drinkers,
Hmm.
Sunday, they were not going to class, so those are, I really believe that you're a product of people that you
Hmm.
surround yourself with. And so just changing who you surround yourself with will probably impact you the most. Like you'll see probably the most long-term impact there.
You could remove the word probably.
Yep.
I guarantee it. I heard a quote recently that said, basically, show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
That's a great quote.
Yeah, so there's no probably to it. It's like you are the 5 people that you hang around most, that kind of thing. And the thing is too, it's interesting as you step into, to your point, you've got this community, as you step into the experience that you had at Bachelorette versus the experience that you had down at Fullerton, is you had a different tribe of people that you were around. Even though the people at the Bachelorette were not your tribe,
Right.
you had a tribe.
Right.
Right. To your point, they grounded you, set expectations that you were really clear and probably reinforced who you believed yourself to be and aspired to be.
Right. And I was also the youngest person on the show.
Yeah.
So
Oh, interesting.
so the next youngest person was 2 years older than me. So everyone was late 20s to early 30s. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm around a bunch of men who have careers, probably money saved up, a lot more life experience than I do.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I also, a part of like the way that I acted was because, some of the guys that I was close with, um, gave me advice on how to, you know, I guess combat these situations. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in that aspect, I think, just what we were talking about earlier, surrounding yourself with people who want to see you succeed, that's a prime example.
Yeah.
There's so many other ways that I could have handled those situations. And there was
Yeah.
some stuff that I didn't even know how to handle, but I got that advice from people who had more experience than me, and I was able to utilize that. So
That's called mentoring.
yeah.
It is interesting. You said like people that wanted you to succeed. Keith Ferrazzi has a new book out. I have it over here. I'm looking at it. I think it's Never Lead Alone. But in it, it's his playbook for how he's helped organizations like GE turn around and everything else. And he has a term called co-elevate, which
Okay.
literally is you create this leadership team to where that's the team's role, is being able to give each other feedback, co-elevate each other. So the intention around the feedback that I'm doing is so that we're all better.
Yeah.
And that's where, as long as you can align yourself and find people like that, then they can close some of those gaps that you have. To your point, if you're the youngest one, you're not going to know all the answers. They don't know all the answers, but they may have had experiences that they can go, yeah, dude, you don't want to go there. And this is how you avoid that.
Yep.
I
They
love it.
literally, I remember just several instances where they're like, just walk out. Just
Yeah.
don't say anything. Just keep going. Just keep your mouth shut. And it helped. It benefited me and made other people look really, really not the person that they want to look like.
No. Yeah. It's like there's a cost to having the last word.
There definitely is.
Yeah. There's a cost to having the last word. Thank you for your time. I truly appreciate it. Love to have you back on as you check in to see what's going on through medical school and any other lessons because I'm excited for you. I think you're ready for it. And I'm excited to learn more to see how things are going. So in the last few minutes, I would love to hear what one or two things do you want people to walk away with around this topic that we've been chatting about?
Yeah. I think one thing that I really want to share with people is to never stop chasing your goals. Don't let
Mm.
anything get you down. I don't want to hear, like, if you let people make your decisions for you, you will never, ever get to where you want to go. So if people say you can't do it, believe in yourself because no one knows what's in your heart. No one knows where your path goes. Only you do. So just keep dream chasing and you'll get to the top.
Love that. There is a lot of passion around what you just said.
Yeah. Mm,
I go back to the other, because I think what you talked about when we were off camera was that this was something since 11 years old. You're like, this is what I want to do.
yes.
Um, that I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's easier said than done. And I think part of it, when the doubt can get in the way or the naysayers can get in the way, is to your point, just reground yourself and literally sit in silence, meditation, whatever it is, and ask yourself, what do I want? What do I truly want? Because that's the voice that you want to listen to move yourself forward. Because it's not so easy sometimes, Dylan, when you've got all these people around you. What are you thinking? You couldn't possibly do that. And then there's another quote recently that said something along the lines of, if you think it can't be done, just get out of the way for the people that are getting it done.
We'll get it done. Best believe it.
Yes, yes. So I agree, and just know that the possibility or what people need, it's in you. It's just a matter of tapping into it. And if you need a mentor or somebody else that's not this naysayer, find them. Find them. Yeah. Dylan, thank you.
Or
I look forward to it. I'm so excited for you. Congratulations again on
thank you.
being incoming medical student and not just aspiring.
Yeah.
So until next time, this has been Leadership Soundbites. Please like, share, subscribe, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.